Sonic Lab TV.
Hi, I'm Rich at Studio Paranormal, and today we are looking at this, the Roland Octa-Capture. This is a USB 2 interface with 8 mic preamps, 8 analog outputs, SPDIF I/O, MIDI capabilities, sample rates of up to 192K and 24 bit rate. Let's have a look at the panel. Okay, so here's our power and our USB. This is not bus powered. USB is just for linking up to the computer on USB 2. We've got our MIDI in and outs, our SPDIF in and outs, 8 analog outputs, our main left and right there, and 4 mic preamps. You can also use balanced and unbalanced jacks. And on the front, we have, again, 4 mic preamps, the same with the jacks. You can select your channels here on the front panel, phantom power, compression there. This button here lets you set gain levels automatically, and then this lets you flip through options on the panel. Lots of different things here, mix selections. You can choose 4 different output mixes, main output there, and you can choose to monitor through headphones and main speakers or just through headphones. So there's a DSP on board which gives us some basic functions of a digital mixer. Probably the easiest way for me to show you this is on the control panel on the computer, which we're running on OS X. Okay, so this is the control panel here on the Mac. Same things for each channel really. We've got our compression in or out, we've got noise gate and some basic compression settings, phantom power, high impedance for plugging in things like guitars, phase reverse, low cut, and then our gain settings here. And we can also link adjacent channels there.
So that's a gain input, not a fader input?
Yeah, so on the inputs, that's just controlling our gain. So if you set a gain on the actual hardware itself, that will mirror the same settings there on the control panel. And there's also a direct mix tab. Okay, so we've just got our input mixer here, which is just 10 physical inputs, 8 analog and 2 for the SPDIF. And then we have our output mixer, which is just 10 software returns from the DAW on the computer. And basically we can have 4 mixes, so we can send different things to different mixers there through the patch bay. Okay, so here's our patch bay. Here's the 8 analog outputs and the 2 digital on the end there. In the drop-down menu, we can choose to send any of the mix outputs or any of the DAW returns to any of our different outputs on the back of the interface. So, for instance, this means we could have, say, 4 different band members listening to completely different mixes. One of the handy things about the Octa-Capture is the inbuilt reverb. Each channel has a single send, so let's turn that up on channel 1. Here's our reverb button up here. And then we have a drop-down menu for selecting different types of reverb. We're on small hall at the moment. You can play around a bit with the pre-delay and the time of the reverb. We're on the small hall setting at the moment. This is how it sounds. Large hall. So this is what I sound like now. Probably drowned in a cave. Nice bit of room reverb here. And then finally we have an echo.
What's the quality like on the effects?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, you know, standard reverb settings really. There's not a hell of a lot you can do with them, but, you know, just for a bit of mixing, not bad.
A Buffalo Soldier.
So, as you can hear, we had a bit of fun with this the other day. Incidentally, the reverbs that we're using are from Pro Tools and not from the Octa-Capture, because you can only use reverb on the inputs, you can't use it on the software returns. Another really cool setting, however, is the auto gain function. We had a bit of a play around with this in a live tracking setting the other day.
I should have used a pop shield. There's one just a foot away.
Okay, so here we are in the live room. As you can see, full band setup going on. We've got 4 drum mics, 2 guitar amps mic'd up, bass line in, and a vocal mic. I'll explain exactly what mics we're using later, but just so you know, all the microphones are going down through into our wall box, which is then going through into our lovely patch bay next door in the control room. Okay, so we're back in the control room. As you can see, those 8 red cables coming out of our patch bay are going into the Octa-Capture. Those are our 8 microphones. And it's important to note that basically we're monitoring out of the Octa-Capture and into our desk. We're not doing anything than that other than monitoring. You don't need a desk to operate this. We're also taking USB feed into our Mac, which allows us to manipulate stuff on the computer itself. And now, I'm just going to take you through to next door just to show you what microphones we're using and just to explain the setup. First of all, Beta 52 on our bass drum. A couple of Rode NT1000s for our overheads. And then finally, close mic on the snare, Superlux pencil mic, sounds really good. There's a whiz over here, here's our guitar amp, and we are using a Blue Ball mic on a small Fender amp. And then our bass, line in. We don't want any bassy room noise coming out, so it's just going directly into our wall box. Vocal mic, SM57. We'll have to see how that sounds. And then finally, a blue ball mic again on our final amp here, which is a PD Classic 30. So what we're going to do is test some of the gain, the auto gain functions on the Octa-Capture with a bit of drum tracking. So back into the control room to see how that works. We'll get him to play the kit and I'll test the bass drum and the snare drum. So Chris, we're ready to go. Okay, so here's our snare. Auto sense, start. And you can see it's learning there. It's quite a high gain level still. Let's try the bass drum. Auto sense, start on our bass drum. And there it jumped down as soon as you hit the bass drum. And we've got a nice big level. So it seems to work okay. We'll see if it works in the actual live tracking setting.
I used to be a shining star, and the light will get you so far. In the dark you were my dearest friend, and I pray to God this.
Okay, so let's have a look at Pro Tools. Some nice big fat waveforms going on there, not one single clip at all. It looks like it did the job. Southern drop, what do you think? Yeah!
So, any downsides you can think of?
Yeah, not loads, but there's a couple. There always is going to be. There is the fact that you can only input, you can only use reverb on the inputs and not on the software return. The compression isn't the best, but you know, for that price, it's not going to be. The mic preamps are slightly noisy when you're using phantom power, and there isn't a real-time monitoring meter on the actual software itself, so you can't see how high your levels are.
So, overall value for money, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's good value for money. We've seen it for as little as £479. It copes really well in the studio environment. If you use it as a standalone, you've got a nice little digital mixer there, nice flexibility within the software and the hardware. And you know, at the end of the day, you've got 8 preamps there, so you can record a drum kit and it's going to sound good.
Just give me